Greetings. I am your briefing officer for today's game. The GM of the Great Barriers channel features Star Trek tabletop games using the first edition Star Trek Adventures 2D20 engine by Modiphius. The Partisan's Edge campaign is set in the later part of the Lost era of Star Trek, circa 2356, with Revanchist Industries of the Broken Sword campaign as writer and game master. Our crew's primary ship is the USS Vulcan's Forge, a Cheyenne-class vessel. Those of you joining the channel for the first time, I'll direct you to our local channel points, the Quatru. You can spend these to interact with our games by changing the difficulty of task rolls, granting momentum or threat, or creating narrative traits to help and hinder our players. These Quatlus accrue at an accelerated rate if you are either a follower or subscribe to the channel. These also let you access exclusive emotes to the channel. You may also wield commands in chat for supplemental information, entering the exclamation mark with the command listed here and in the panels below. These will let you access our archived broadcasts of Star Trek Adventures campaigns, how to keep up with the community, and other ways to support the channel. Per Starfleet regulations, in terms of service, please observe courtesy for your fellow chat members and the crew. If you enjoy our games and want to support the channel, you can follow here on Twitch or follow on our YouTube channel as well. You can also subscribe or support us on Ko-Fi. Welcome aboard the Vulcan's Forge. The game will begin shortly, and we hope you enjoy.
All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second episode of Star Trek Adventures Partisan's Edge. I am your GM, Rev, who will be conveying the will of Starfleet Command to our fine cast of players tonight. With us tonight, we have Caligo as Captain Blackburn, Ray as Commander Dyood, and Cheesy as Lieutenant Baxtra. Hopefully, our fourth player, our tactical officer, will be able to join us shortly. We shall pray for his imminent arrival. Welcome, everybody, to the GM of the Great Barriers channel. I will be GMing and will be your host for this evening. We have a few shout-outs to do. First off, one of our own cast members, Caligo, Captain Blackburn. What do you have going on your channel these days?
I've mostly just been playing way too much Limbus Company. Way too much. But if you like that, feel free to join in.
Very nice. If you enjoy Limbus Company or other things, I believe you said last week you were getting into some art as well.
Yes.
So lots of great things over on his channel. And as always, we'd like to shout out our good friend of the stream. Not sure if he was able to support us this evening, but Joe, the OverlandGamer, we know he always has some streams that's going on there. He was also helping out with the Fallout for Hope charity event. So great guy. Check out his streams. Please do so. All right. Well, I believe that gets the formalities out of the way. So let's go ahead and get right into game tonight. Last time on Star Trek Adventures Partisan's Edge, we were introduced to our crew, the newly gathered together crew of a recently commissioned Cheyenne-class cruiser, the Vulcan's Forge. Managed to learn a little bit about each of our players, their characters, what they've been doing, their preparations. And as the bridge crew was assembled, brought together aboard a supposed and hopeful team-building dinner, they were interrupted by an unexpected guest. A woman who called herself Amanda appeared. Speaking of strange events, perhaps temporarily displaced, perhaps something else, she spoke of her people as being under threat, and that the crew of the Vulcan's Forge needed to come together and prepare this vessel for departure a week earlier than scheduled. After some spirited debate between members of the crew, Captain Blackburn decided they would do their best to accommodate, and in doing so, also requested that our mysterious guest join them again once they arrive safely at their destination, Starbase 211, along the border of Cardassian space. So, we're going to begin this session by the GM generating 2 threat from a missing player.
That feels unfair.
You can't blame us for that one.
I don't think this should reflect poorly on us.
I say we have the GM drawn and quartered.
That I will lovingly get behind. Yes.
Roll20 is being difficult with me. We are going to ignore that for the time being. However, we will keep that in mind. Keep in mind that as playing, I will not be generating 2 threat per player at the start of every game. However, things like this will increase our threat pool. All right, with that out of the way, we have 1 week to get the Vulcan's Forge ready and out of dry dock. As we transfer to the theater of the mind, we are going to handle this in the form of an extended task. Let me transfer us. Oops, forgot to transfer the ribbon. Bear with me, still learning how to make Roll20 cooperate. Our enemy, if you will, our extended task we must overcome, is in fact Starfleet Command itself. So we're going to take a quick moment to discuss some features of... that's interesting. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Interesting. It looks like it's not showing up. Okay. Well, we will not worry about that. In Star Trek Adventures, we handle extended tasks a lot similar to an enemy with a health bar, resistance, and a certain number of successes we need to handle. So, in the case of this, we have set the difficulty, the work track, to complete this at 15. We've set the base difficulty at 4, and we've set the resistance at 1. What that means is we will be rolling 2d20. We have to beat 4 successes, and then we will roll challenge die, just as if we were firing a weapon or some other ability to deal damage to an enemy as we work through the difficulty of this work track. Each roll that the players will do will represent 1 day's worth of work. So that means we have a total of 7 rolls to get through this work track. One second as I jump back to this layer. There's a lot of different ways. You all are welcome to use your ingenuity to come up with how to deal with the bureaucracy and minutia of preparing a ship and convincing the Admiralty or other public outlets to release the ship early. However, they'll fall more or less into one of 2 trait groups. The first is working through Starfleet Command. Starfleet Command will make it easier for you to roll if you are working through the means that you are most skilled at. Doctors with medicine, commanding officers with command, and will make it easier to command those beneath you. However, more difficult to request things from those above you, and the complication range will increase for using methods that may not be quite so Starfleet standard. Alternatively, you could try to go through the United Federation of Planets. The United Federation of Planets adds the Progression 1 trait to any rolls that you make. It's similar to Vicious on weapons. Every effect you would roll will now be 2 points of work instead of 1. However, you're dealing with a bureaucracy that often butts heads with the military arm of Starfleet, increasing the difficulty, resistance, and complication range.
I see.
So, as we move on, the first day begins. Who would like to begin off our extended task? And how would they like to try to contribute to the work that's being done?
Well, the argument that Blackburn will make is that, well, so much of the crew is just sort of not really able to do much because half of the crew is at the other station. So, it wouldn't, if there's any, we can finish up everything we need at, the starbase.
All right. So, I would say that would be going through Starfleet. Would you agree?
Yes. Like, we don't even have our head engineer here. So, it'd be better to get ready and to meet them.
Agreed. All right. So with that being said, I would say that's a reason and command role. Would you agree with that?
May I use presence since it's sort of mixing the protocols with, a debate?
Okay. I'm good with that. However, you would be arguing this to the Admiralty board. So there will be +2 resistance
I see.
when you roll your work. So right now, presence and command, the difficulty would be 4, but because you are using your main career-based skill, that drops it down to a 3. Do you have any focuses that would apply?
Starfleet protocols.
Yes.
Yep.
Both of those would apply.
All right.
And keep in mind, we do have 4 momentum currently.
May I steal a piece of momentum, gang?
Do it.
Sounds good to me. All right. I will buy an extra dice. Focus. All right. Ooh. Wow.
With 1 success.
Good thing I didn't pick any of the options that increase his complication range.
Very true.
Oh, God.
Captain Blackburn, you argue surprisingly convincingly. However, the response from the Admiralty Board is, while they understand your sentiment, the fact of the matter is that well, that's true. The ship needs to be completed first before the crew would be able to do any good. So they recognize your request, understand the fact that the ship is not fully crewed as it needs to be, but that would be fully crewed for launch, not fully crewed for proper use.
Horrid bureaucracy.
It is the Admiralty Board. All right. That's 1 day down. 6 days remain. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay. What would you like to do?
I would like to know really quick. So we're waiting on everything to be ship shape essentially, but is there a lot of bureaucratic paperwork that's holding us back?
Oh, you know there always is.
I would like to appeal to that side.
Okay.
And I would like to do this with the human equivalent. Well, I mean, it is the human equivalent. I would like to come at them with coffee and donuts. And I would like to go from there.
All right. So I think dealing with the bureaucracy and paperwork, the primary issue is the Federation of Planets is not currently at war with the Cardassian Union. That's
So
the primary bit of paperwork that you have to that's tying things up. Is this vessel is being sent into what Starfleet may feel to be an active war zone, but the Federation publicly is not considering.
Okay. So
I would say this would be going through the United Federation of Planets trait.
with that, I would like to talk to the person who's in charge as far as convincing them that this is an emergency active war zone situation, regardless of whether or not they're saving face. So I'd like to express urgency without the urgency.
I see.
I mean, all right. The Federation's not at war, so the ship doesn't need to be fully done here at Earth. We can do the
I
rest
was like,
at the Star
okay.
Base.
I will let you choose either presence or control and command.
What do
They're
I
the
have?
same. They're the same. They're both 10
Oh,
in this case, but it's more, are you coming at them with force of personality, or are you coming at them with the level of technical minutia to kind of prove your point?
Oh, I would like to come at them with technical minutia, but with the what are my focuses really quick?
Your focuses are music, starship tactics, jury rigging, seduction, survival, alternative medicine, and competitive lying.
Throw that seduction focus on that bad bitch. We're coming at them with fact and charisma.
Okay, so if that's the case, I would say it will be your presence in command.
All right, let's do this.
Presence in command. The difficulty would be 4. However, with the United Federation of Planets, that increases the difficulty by 1. This is a difficulty 5 roll.
Disgusting. Why did I choose this? All right, let's just do it.
Would you like to buy an extra die?
Yes, I would. Is there a way I can use
Or
the value for an auto
you
crit?
do have values.
I was gonna say.
Let's see. Be excellent to each other.
Yeah. That's not really
Bare your beak and fight rather than turn a cheek.
why did I choose that? All right.
Take it easy, but take it. And never leave your bros behind.
Oh, why did I do this? All right. I
You
cannot
chose these
stretch.
values, not me.
I did, and I'm feeling that today. Oof. Is there any talents I can use?
Diffuse the tension when you know that's violence.
Come on, we're treating this like a violent task. You said it earlier. Come on. Come on.
Reassuring. No, you don't have any that would apply.
All right. Well, while I'm seductively presenting them with the facts, I would like to drop to them something along the lines of, it's very nice to see such a well-run organization. I'm particularly impressed with your lack of concern about the oncoming war. This is very, very healthy. I consider your armies to be on par with the Score Navy. I must say, your speed and efficiency knows no bounds.
All right. And with that, did you say you spent a point of momentum to get a third guy? Okay.
Use that
Cheesy, if you could please drop 2 points of momentum.
I sure can.
Thank you. That is 3 successes.
God damn it.
With a complication.
Fuck! Alright. Did the seduction not go well?
So the question is, what kind of complication would you like?
Well, you know I want narrative, dude. Come on.
Okay. The Federation representative that you approach seems very interested in hearing you out again and getting more information from you. In fact, so interested that it's only until 2 days have gone by that you realize that you're absolutely wasting your time here.
Oh, son of a bitch. All right.
3 days have passed. 4 days remain. No progress has been made. Who would like to go next? Also, welcome, Sean. To fill you in, we are doing an extended task, 7 days to get the ship out of space dock early. Depending on how you go about it, you're either going to go through Starfleet channels or through the United Federation of Planets, each with their own benefits. Difficulty to start off with is 4. Resistance to work is 1. And a total work track or health bar of 15. Thus far, 3 days have passed, and no progress has been made. Starfleet bureaucracy at its finest. We have Cheesy as Lieutenant Baxtra, and yourself as Lieutenant Commander Skull remaining.
Sakal.
Sakal.
There's a
My bad.
pause there. It's a 2
My bad. My bad. So those are our 2 players remaining for this round of checks. Who would like to go? And what would they like to try to do?
I can go.
All right.
I am going to try and speed up the medical side of things and get everybody's medical examinations done as quickly as possible.
Okay. That's going to be using the Starfleet trait. I would say because you are trying to go as fast as possible, that would probably be either daring or fitness, either pushing yourself physically or mentally.
Okay.
So that will increase the complication range by 2.
I have a determination, right?
Yes, everybody starts the game with 1 determination.
Awesome. I'd like.
Do you have a value that applies?
Diseases of all forms have no place on a Starfleet vessel.
I think that applies.
Do we not technically accrue determination episode?
No, if you don't use it, it goes away.
Then how can we build up more?
By doing things that are in harmony with your determination, that are in harmony with your values, that could cause complications in the narrative. You also gain 1, just 1 in general, at the start of each episode.
Okay.
If you have 0 points at the start of an episode, you'll get 1, essentially.
You said it's a complication range of 2?
Complication range of 3.
3.
So it's normally 1 plus 2 complication to get us to 3.
Okay.
Difficulty would be 4, but because you are using medicine, it's down to 3.
Okay.
And the resistance
sorry.
would go down by 1 because you're dealing with people under your care.
Okay.
So that will happen once you actually roll the dice.
I'm going to do the auto crit to get the 2 successes off the rip.
All right.
Will my infectious diseases focus or surgical techniques focus apply?
I would say between the 2, infectious diseases would be more applicable.
Okay.
Because the chances are of you approving somebody that needs surgery is low.
Here we go. That's
All right. With 4 successes, you gain 1 point of momentum. Now, in your character sheet, where the challenge dice are on the upper right-hand side of your sheet, add your your medicine rank. So I believe that's 5, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Plus 2, so put 7 in there. Hit enter, and then roll. Did you hit enter after? There we go. So, currently, we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of work. No effects are being added to this roll. The resistance would be 1, so it would go down to 4. However, because you went through Starfleet channels and are working with those under your care, there is 0 resistance. That would be currently 5 points of work. 1 breakthrough would be achieved. We need a total of 4. Would you like to do anything to modify that roll?
1 momentum to reroll, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'll reroll those 2 zeros. Is
All
everybody
right.
cool with that?
Sure, why not?
Go for it.
Cow. Where's a cow? Come on. Oh, wait, I got a hit. Bam. Let's go.
It's up to 7 work. So while that does not grant you any bonus breakthroughs, keep in mind that once you deplete the total health of this work track of 15, any successes you get will count as an additional breakthrough. So it does help matters.
Medical crew on point today. It's
Lieutenant
Vulcan
Baxtra,
time.
Lieutenant Baxtra, as you are working through, this is not too different than triaging patients on the front lines. You find yourself falling into old routines, old habits of maybe a little too much stimulants, a little too much Ractogino, long nights, late nights. But this is what you do on the front lines. This is frontier medicine. And in what could be considered record time, all medical records of the crew you will be, who will be joining you here, have been worked through. Very nicely done. With 1 breakthrough, our difficulty now goes down to 3. It's going to be a lot easier to get these successes now. Lieutenant Commander Sakul, as I said. You're up.
What exactly is there left for security / tactical to get done, or are we simply making that just a big ball of things that need doing and avoiding specifics?
I'm trying to avoid incredible specifics, and kind of leaving it up to you. If there's something you're like, he would work with this to get this up and running.
Okay. All right. So things we need. Our armory is not filled. We don't have our full complement of torpedo casings, and we're waiting on a refill of antimatter, because antimatter doesn't just fuel the warp core; it also gets siphoned off and pumped into every photon torpedo we launch. It's half the
Correct.
work. So these are the things I am working to remedy. Getting the stuff that we're missing. And yeah, I'm going through proper channels. I have, because of the 5 decades I've been in Starfleet, I've probably got contacts everywhere. So I will, if I can't get the next higher up to get me what I need, I will go over his head so fast I will leave marks on his scalp.
Okay, I like this. Let's go ahead and roll. I would say I'll give you a choice between presence and security for going through like more focused channels, or insight and security for knowing the right person to go to.
I guess I can't reason my way through it, huh? Vulcan. Vulcan.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Reason
and security. Difficulty is 3.
Right.
And I would say normally you would gain 2 resistance for going over people's heads and going through that. However, because of your service, I would say the resistance will only increase by 1.
All right. So would my focus of composure?
Yes, I think that would absolutely apply.
All right. So
Right now, the difficulty is 3. We
yeah,
have 2 momentum in the pot.
I'm gonna have only 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we got 1 and then Cheesy
Yep.
spent it.
I'm gonna need at least 1 extra die, so that's 1 more
Okay.
point of momentum. Ah. And here we go. The dice roller hates me. Oh,
Does it though?
not today. Not today.
So Cheesy, don't worry about dropping that point of momentum, because with 4 successes, we regain the point of momentum that was spent.
I was getting
So
ready to
take-
start my determination. I already had the value I was going to use.
Look at that. Didn't even need to this time. You can save it for later.
Yeah.
So if you could go up into the upper right-hand side of where your character sheet is, where it shows the challenge die, 2 plus your security, put that in, hit enter, and then roll it.
2 plus security. Okay.
So I think it's 7, right?
Yeah. Oh, I gotta click the button. I gotta do. There you go. Oh, yeah.
That is a very monstrously good roll.
Holy Christmas.
So currently we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 points of work that was done. With 2 resistance, that takes it down to 7 points of work. That is enough for another breakthrough. You can...
Does the extra stack with the previous rolls? And does that bring us to yet another breakthrough?
For every 5 that you get in a roll, it will
it's
give
only
you a
one
breakthrough.
roll. All right, doesn't stack.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. However, spending a point of momentum can give your work the piercing 2 quality, which would ignore 2 points of resistance, thereby depleting the work track. And if you empty the HP bar, if you will, to 0, that is an additional breakthrough. So if you do that, that would be 2 breakthroughs, which would leave us with only 1 left to complete this journey.
Point of momentum to do
for
that.
1 point of momentum.
Then yeah, we're going to drop that.
All right. So with that, the resistance of this task goes down to 0. So that is 9 points of work done, with 8 points left on our work track. That is a total of 2 breakthroughs, which takes us from 3 breakthroughs remaining to 1. Let me just update my records here real quick. Very good.
I do like that you
go ahead.
put modifiers on the screen. That was very, very cool.
Yes, I'm interested as to why they don't show up. Oh, you mean for the traits or for the health bars?
Yeah, for the traits.
For the traits, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will help to make some of the traits make more sense and understand some more information behind them. Get a peek inside the GM screen, so to speak. Sean, tell us how you managed to get not just what the Vulcan's Forge needs, but what you want.
Oh, what I want? Oh,
Within reason. Within reason.
Okay.
You know, you're not getting quantum torpedoes because those don't exist
Those
yet.
don't exist yet, right? We have to wait for 20, 30 years for those?
Yeah.
Something along those lines? No, 20 years. God, what could I want? We already have the expanded fighter / shuttle bays.
Mm-hmm.
Can I also get expert crew for those fighter / shuttles?
You can.
Like Top Guns.
You can get the best shuttle pilots, fighter pilots that are available. Now, mind you, the Federation does not currently utilize shuttles as fighters, as common tactical processes.
Correct.
Um,
Correct. But I think outside of the box, and I'm looking for shuttle pilots who are not only good, but creative and willing to do stupid stuff and survive.
And with that, you work in tandem with your flight deck officer, the ANR Master Chief Petty Officer Thavarin, and go through records, comb through who she has worked with in the past, as well as stories you may have heard of while you were serving at the fronts, and put together a pretty solid crew of experienced pilots.
Yeah, I'm working on amendments to Starfleet tactical doctrine.
The Chief Petty Officer, Thavarin, mentions to you, I heard that the crew that was giving all the runabouts bird names, Raven, Magpie, they got moved to combat research and development, and they're keeping with the bird names, but they're going toward more feisty birds, hawks and falcons. I'll keep my ear out if any of those surface for testing.
Testing. Yes, exactly.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So
Active testing.
What other testing is there, sir?
As you were.
All right. It has now been a total of 5 days. 2 days remain. We're going to take a brief break from our roll-off. Lieutenant Baxtra, part of why you have been devoting yourself so fully to working through this is because you've had a lot to sort through in your own mind. The appearance of our mysterious visitor has reminded you of stories that you have heard about, but figuring out exactly how to bring that up in an appropriate manner has been a challenge you have both been trying to avoid, but also slowly working through in between medical reports. As the 5th day breaks, you think you finally have figured out how to discuss this matter in a more private setting with your commanding officer. So we return bright and early day to Captain Blackburn's residence.
Oh boy.
Captain Blackburn, having been stymied by the Admiralty Board, since when have admirals ever made life easy for you?
They poured me a drink once. That was about it.
That was about it. But you find yourself back looking through records, seeing what other recourses you have, planning your next steps. You don't have long to take, much longer, before you are supposed to launch, but your tactical officer, who some thought you were placing a long shot bet on, really came through. You're within striking distance of getting the Vulcan's Forge launched in time. You just have to figure out how to reorient yourself, come at this from a new direction, and strike home. Lieutenant Baxtra, you've arrived outside, and Captain Blackburn, you hear the familiar chime at your door.
Enter.
I'm not disturbing you, am I, Captain?
You are not. How can I
Cool.
help you?
Well, I wanted to talk about our visitor from a few days ago.
Yes.
They bear a striking resemblance to a race of beings from my family's history.
Is that so?
Yes. So, Captain, I don't know if it's said in the report. It's something I need to tell you, and it's I'm not human, even though I look it.
Captain Blackburn, you know that? The Federation records just say near human.
Yes.
There's a lot of species that count as near human.
I see.
I am 200 years old. And my race is called Elorian.
I see. And what history do you have with this matter manipulating race that interrupted our meeting?
A few centuries ago, me and, well, not me, my civilization and theirs were at war. If I remember correctly, and if everything lines up the way it's supposed to, I do believe them to be of the Q continuum.
The Q continuum.
Lieutenant
Yes.
Baxtra, as you try to say Q continuum, the words don't form out of your mouth.
Oh.
We're about to play fucking charades so you can fucking.
There's a community.
The
Do you know the letter that comes before R?
Q?
Precisely.
That's what they're called.
Yes.
Okay.
I have revealed this information to you, and only to you, because there are people at Starfleet who will take this information and use it for means that, well, aren't good.
Knowing their name.
Knowing their name, knowing what I am, it's just not good for anybody.
I see. And I assume that your particular history isn't entirely secret.
I don't. It happened before I was born, but I do remember how they described them, and it was why I was being so adamant earlier, a few days ago, because they don't ask for help, Captain. Ever. Not like that.
I see. Is it a thing? Are they prideful? Is that a thing we should be aware of?
Captain, I believe calling them prideful would be an understatement.
I see. What else can you share about them?
Just that they're a temporal species. They don't exist normally in our space and time.
I see.
Which allows them to manipulate matter and do things that are, well, inhumanly possible.
And she did mention those other incidents reports from the old Enterprise with Turk. Did some reading on what official reports there are.
Caligo, go ahead and give me, for that, a reason and security roll.
Reason and security. All right, let's see how much they let me see.
This is going to be a sliding difficulty. It's primarily just to generate momentum.
I see. Starfleet protocols.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. 2.
Go ahead, gain 2 momentum. Captain Blackburn, there are a few records that are public knowledge. Most of them are actually from Jim Kirk's personal memoirs. He tells this fanciful story of meeting God.
Oh.
It's not entirely... You're not sure if you can believe it. Some of the things sound particularly laugh-worthy, such as Ambassador Spock having a Vulcan brother that rejected logic. A lot of the stories sound completely ridiculous. And as you know, Jim Kirk was a bit of a... As history records show, Jim Kirk was a bit of an exaggerator. However, one such race that you do have very clear records on are the Organians. It was their intervention that stopped the Klingon Federation War from reheating during the mid to late 23rd century. The Organian Treaty is something of renowned. And by doing a little bit of digging, you were able to discover that the Organians were certainly not
normal.
And their powers were, well, not exactly synonymous to what you saw at that dinner. Not outside of the realm of possibility to have that level of power.
Yeah. So, if it weren't events like that were well known, I probably would not have believed her enough to give her a shot. You know. It's sort of. All right. So I have a name. I have possible connections. Is there anything else you would like to add, Lieutenant?
Lieutenant.
Baxtra.
I was muted. I'm so sorry. No. That is all the information. I just didn't want you to be caught off guard, and I wanted you to have the full story for as much as I could provide anyway.
I see.
So, with that, you're given something, whether accurate, a story. Lieutenant Baxtra seems to believe it, at least. And while perhaps a little odd, it's not completely unheard of. And perhaps reframes what you had originally perhaps guessed at in a bit more certainty. We are going to now return to our final roles. Lieutenant Baxtra, Lieutenant Commander Sakul, you've already succeeded. Let's see what Captain Blackburn and Commander Dyood can do. The difficulty is now 1. Having scored 3 breakthroughs.
Hey, we're already almost done. Can we just leave a day early?
I like it. That would be presence in command. Again, you are going to the Admiralty board. So that will be +2 resistance to the work track. However, Commander Dyood has dropped out for a few minutes. However, Ray told me what to do. She is going to assist you on this roll.
All right. And I will use one of those new fancy momentums we got.
You gained 2 momentum. Cheesy, we're up to 4. Spend 1, down to 3.
All right.
And let's try this again now that it is much, much better.
Wow.
Oh no!
Do you have anything to deal with that? Do you want to re-roll?
Is it like a determination spin?
It would be a
to reroll?
determination spin to re-roll.
The only failure is not trying.
Yeah.
I'll spin that to re-roll those zeros.
Okay. That is 1 success, which is enough.
That's
and it will
fine.
also allow Commander Dyood to assist. They are going to go with reason and command to assist. They do not have a focus that would necessarily apply here. However, let me see. That's complications. Never mind. That's not going to assist. With a second success, that gains us 1 additional momentum. And Captain Blackburn, go ahead and roll 7 challenge die.
All right.
Resistance is currently at 3. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, a resistance of 3 takes us down to 2 successes,
I thought
which
you got
still completes the task because we are managed to continue work with a completed work track.
I just remembered I gotta do the roll for veteran talent.
You do.
Hey!
And you regain your point of determination.
There we go.
Very nicely done. Captain Blackburn, what is the final piece of final argument that manages to fully convince Starfleet Command of your choice?
Well, all of my senior command staff have been hard at work. They have completed their objectives, the pre-flight plan, far ahead of schedule. And I think we are more than ready to set off. for Starbase 211.
As you present this to the Admiralty Board, it takes a couple of minutes. Surprisingly less time than you were expecting. As you receive back the message. Report to the USS Vulcan's Forge. It will be cleared to launch upon your arrival.
Whew.
Nicely done. With 1 day to spare, the crew rallied together and prepared the vessel. The following day, bridge crew gathers aboard. Sean, good question. Sean asked if his talent of backup plans would apply. I believe backup plans only works if you fail the roll. You succeeded at the roll.
Yeah.
Yes, but did we not have a cock-up failure?
Yes, but is it when anybody fails or when you fail?
Anybody?
Anybody
shoot.
involved in the current mission.
Whenever
Okay.
you or an ally fails. Wait,
So yes, gain 2 points of momentum for that total.
I really like this talent.
It's a ridiculously good talent.
wait, does it stack with multiple people having it?
It does not. I tried.
No, it does not. However, it's okay that multiple people have it because chances are you will be on different missions at times.
True.
You know, so just because multiple
Yeah,
people
that's
have
eggs
it
and
does not make it
that's
bad.
that's an eggs and basket question there.
Yep,
Yeah.
it might add a little more gameplay thought as to who goes on what missions. The following day, the crew gathers aboard one of the 2 shiny new Magpie class runabouts that your ship will be outfitted with, as you are brought up out of San Francisco and to the docked Vulcan's Forge. You arrive. The command. Yes. As you slowly circle around the ship to gather just how beautiful it is. My apologies that I don't have the Star Trek motion picture beauty shots. However, you will have to suffice with this one brief photo. You take one look around it. It's very similar in some ways to the older class of Constellation cruisers, but with much smoother lines. A lot less utilitarian looking and more, well, for lack of a better term, peaceful. An interesting change in Starfleet ideology.
Fancy.
Yeah. Some of you have heard rumors that the next command vessel of the fleet, the flagship, the next Enterprise, will be based off of characteristics designed on earlier vessels such as this. You can only imagine what a quad nacelle looking Enterprise would look like. Your ship enters one of the spacious docking bays, disembark to the bosun's whistle, calling you all aboard. And as you arrive, taking your positions at the bridge, I believe our SCOM's technician, our Federation docking procedures, has the final words to say.
Vulcan's Forge, this is Space Dock. You are cleared for departure.
And with that, the ship slowly pulls out of its current docking outside of planet Earth and begins to move outward. We come to the bridge
I've
of
got
the
a watch.
USS Vulcan's Forge. Commander Dyood, Captain Blackburn. The ship is currently undermanned, and you've called up the flight deck officer for helm operations, as she is the most capable at piloting vessels, though usually of a much smaller scale. And you can assume that there are generic Federation
Crew.
officers manning, for example, the science station or other locations aboard this ship. However, you finally made it. You're here. You've received the command. You're clear to launch. Captain Blackburn, the captaincy is yours.
Set a course for Starbase 211 and engage.
What warp?
Warp 4.
Warp 4. A leisurely warp for a vessel of this class. The Cheyenne class was designed for extended, long-range
We'll
missions.
speed up
However,
once the engineering crew is certain we won't explode transit.
exactly.
Has the ship actually had a full shakedown cruise?
You know, you got out of here a week early, and
Welcome to the shakedown
nobody
cruise.
and nobody chose that as how they were rolling. So no, the ship has not had a shakedown cruise.
Welcome to the shakedown cruise.
Then traveling at warp 4 is probably our shakedown.
Probably very wise. Warp 4. That will use 4 points of power. However, the Cheyenne class starship Vulcan's Forge has an improved warp drive, which means
Something just exploded.
yeah, I hope everyone's okay. Hope that wasn't the warp core.
It's all fine.
Whenever the ship spends power to go to warp, we're going to roll 1 challenge die for each power spent. And for each effect that is rolled, that point of power is not spent. So, for somebody who would be willing to go into the Vulcan's Forge character sheet, should be under Starships. Go
Got
to
it.
challenge dice, 4, hit enter, and then roll.
Oh.
All right. 2 points of power are not spent.
Woohoo.
And a momentary lapse of insanity, but
It's okay. As you feel the ship pulse to life and the warp core engages, you take off to warp. Starbase 211 is your destination. It should be a relatively smooth ride. Nothing much should come from this. Over the next few days, you're given familiarity of the ship's systems. From the bridge, you have the... how do I ping?
hold left click.
Thank you. Captain and commander stations. Behind it, the tactical station. Chief engineers, when they have to be aboard the bridge, would be here.
Where? Ah, okay.
Various additional crew members and operations are being done here. Mostly science related.
The science officer would have his station at one of Are these stations the programmable stations, the programmable interfaces, or does
They
that
are.
only happen when the Galaxy class project gets underway?
This is new technology.
We still on
You-
are we on LCARs?
You're on the previous version, SCOMs.
Okay.
So they're testing out many new technologies. Now, one of them is being able to switch station types. Main science operations are done from here for detailed scientific analysis. However, additional sensor operations are often done from this location.
Okay. That's the ops station? Or
Yeah,
is it the con station?
this would be ops.
Okay.
So
And the
for those who
station-
may be playing a science officer, they would be moving from here if they were doing basic operations, back here if you're doing more detailed scans, so on and so
Well,
forth.
the science officer does science. The ops officer also keeps an eye on ship systems. They're not always the same job.
Not always the same. In terms of gameplay for this, due to the number of players and characters, they will be filling a similar role.
Understood. The standing station directly in front of the view screen.
It is a new thing. Well, it's actually one of the things that you managed to add as combat operations. It is a singular master control station. In the case of catastrophic systems failure, all ship-wide control access can be routed to the master control station.
Ooh. And I'm assuming it's like its own separate hard, like armored, protected, hardened
Yes.
data link, like
Yes.
directly to the computer core underneath the bridge.
Yes. Exactly. Consider this. You don't have a battle bridge,
Okay.
but it has all the functionality of that into a single master station.
Right. So if the captain and the commander are taken out, I can just walk to the front and fly the ship and fight with it.
Exactly.
Oh, good. I don't know how to fly the ship really well.
But if the choice is between not flying the ship very well and not doing anything, you can run everything from that singular station.
Right. That's going to have a very complex access code to get into.
Oh, absolutely. It has complicated access codes, and in terms of gameplay, it would increase the complication range of any rolls being made.
Yeah.
I think with that, we're going to go to a nice beauty shot.
And I'm assuming it's going to take an acceptable role-playing amount of time to get there.
An acceptable role-playing amount of time sounds pretty sufficient. Technically, at Warp 4, it would take you far too long. Chances are you're going to up that warp closer to our maximum. It's about 53 light years away. I believe at Warp 9, it'll take you about 18 days.
Yeah, and at Warp 4, something like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Those estimated times take into account the fact that you've got to drop out of warp every once in a while.
Also true. And your ship is designed to not have to do that. In fact, one of the things you learn is that unlike older classes of vessels, which would cycle between two pairs of nacelles, the Cheyenne has been designed to create a advanced warp field that allows it to share the strain between all four nacelles.
Ooh.
Which is part of what allows it to continue at high warp for so long.
Without having to do a swap out.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
We're going to take this point. If anybody needs to take a quick break, this is a perfect time for a bio break.
Yeah, good plan.
If anybody needs to, and then we will come back in. So please enjoy this shot of the Cheyenne flying through space. All right, everyone, welcome back to Partisan's Edge. After leaving the vicinities of the Sol system at a leisurely warp 4, the warp was increased to a more business-like warp 9. About 15 to 18 days it should take to get there. Let's say about 6 to 7 days have gone by. What have each of the players been doing during that time? Let's go in rank order.
Up or down?
You're the captain. You get to decide.
Lieutenant, what are you doing?
All right.
That's a good captain. Delegates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm the lieutenant.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I am getting the medical quarters all fixed up. Do we have a ship doctor, or am I doing both ship doctor and field medic?
You are the chief medic. You are acting chief medical officer.
Okay.
As far
then
as
I'm getting...
what talent you get the field medic because that's what you requested. But you will be the medical officer aboard this ship. You weren't supposed to be, but you got replaced in here.
Got you. So he's getting everything set up, and it's not like... How do I put it? So he has a system, basically, and it doesn't look like a normal system to anybody else. Like, nothing is organized, nothing is where it should be, but he knows where everything is. And he's trying to
Gotcha.
get all the other people on the medical staff acquainted to his system.
Gotcha. Lieutenant Baxtra, as you settle in to your sick bay, to your method of doing things, you find this ship is a ship of contrasts. While much of the ship is in soft carpeted designs and trying to look, like a ship of the future.
Yeah.
Some areas of the ship are a bit more reminiscent of different times.
Yeah.
The medical bay has far too many beds for far too little space, and has all the looks of the Constellation class and other more wartime oriented vessels before it. As you can see, there are, in a relatively small station, there are 7 medical beds. This is not designed for routine illness. This medical facility has been designed to see combat patients. And the fact of that reality kind of begins to sink home. That you've been pulled off of frontline triage duties, but the war hasn't left you.
Gotcha.
You have a couple of assistant orderlies that you do your best to help them understand your system. If you could, go ahead and roll me a presence plus medicine check.
All right.
Let's say the difficulty for this is 2.
What's the complication rate?
Complication range is just 1.
Would my triage practices focus apply?
I'm gonna say no.
Gotcha. Then that is no. I don't think I have anything on here. I only have surgical techniques. That's it. Presence in medicine.
Yep.
Bam.
All right. With 1 success and 1 complication. Lieutenant Baxtra, how would you like me to spend that complication? Would you like me to take threat? Would you like to buy it off with 2 points of momentum? Or would you like a narrative complication?
Narrative, por favor.
All right. For the duration of this adventure, of this mission, your sick bay, medical bay, is going to gain the confused nurses 1 trait, which will increase the complication range of any checks done within the medical facility.
Gross.
Your system works for you, but it doesn't work for anybody else. Currently. With time, you can work it out. But for now, it's not looking too great.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything that they would be doing of note during these next few days at work?
Oh, heck yeah.
All right. Sakal, what
There's
are
a
you doing?
list of things that Sakal would be doing.
All right. Let's try and narrow it down. Let's narrow it down to 1 thing that you would be
To
doing
one
over
thing.
this time. Yes.
All right.
One thing that would make for an
one thing-
interesting little interim piece.
Checking. He would be doing a personal check of all 3 shuttle bays, if I recall, or is there 4?
I think there's 4.
All 4 shuttle bays, and doing a level 10 inspection on all of the shuttles, fighters, work bees, all of the minor craft on board. He would be going over with a Vulcan fine-tooth comb, and as well as interviewing and speaking with all of the pilots.
All right. Sounds good. Let me prep this. And we'll drop in the shuttle bay map will be arriving on Tuesday.
Okay.
Starfleet Command is still working on finding a good shuttle bay map, so bear with me. You arrive, tour the shuttle bays, and CPO Thavalan is hovering by you every step of the way as you are doing this. Sakol, roll me an insight and security check.
Insight and security.
Yes.
2 dice. I don't suppose any of my focuses come in.
What do you have?
Probably not. I have sensor operations, ship weapon systems, ship shields, personal combat, melee combat, and composure.
Yeah, none of them would come into play.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Oh.
All right. It doesn't take a genius. Also, gain 1 point of momentum. We are now at max momentum, 6. You start to notice after a bit that she's hovering with you. You'll meet with members of your new shuttle crew, talk with them, and then she'll lag behind as you start to move off to the next one and talk with them without your presence, and then come back up to meet up with you.
Vulcans hear very well in this dense atmosphere. We have much more acute hearing than humans.
Yes. You're not picking up everything, enough to get the gist of she's not undermining you at all. However, she's making it very clear that while they are working under you, they are her squadron.
Oh, chain of command, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
My goal in interviewing all of them is to appraise them, during the interview, and make sure that the Starfleet, the records that I had to go through to select these crazy people, make sure that the records are accurate in their assessment of their mental state and ability to take orders, no matter how odd they may sound.
Yep.
Because, like I said, I'm looking to expand on Starfleet tactical doctrine, which means I'm writing a new book, as the humans say.
Yes.
And I need to make sure that they are willing to follow my book when called upon.
As you complete your inspections, she approaches you, salutes, and says,
Salutes, and I say, that is not required, Lieutenant. Or wait, she's a chief, right?
Chief, yeah.
That is not required, Chief.
Whatever you say, sir. Looks like you really know how to pick them.
Your assistance was invaluable.
Oh, thank you, sir. I can't help but think that, well, you've seen more combat with the Cardis than I. Do they use fighter tactics?
Okay. When she says that, more combat with the Cardis, have like a little. Do I give off like a little twitch?
You absolutely can give off a little twitch.
I give off a little twitch. No. Typically, they do not. Although they do have a series of much smaller starships, which they will use in fleet tactics. Swarms, almost.
I see. That's good to know.
They are in no way as fast and maneuverable as our small craft are.
That's good to know. I would hate to send the kids off to fight against, actually trained fighter pilots day one. That would be a pretty big waste of talent.
I want you to come up with a series of simulator drills. And I hand her a data pad using to instruct them on these particular tactics. Choose simulated combatants as you will. Go a focus on Cardassian opponents would probably be most relevant.
You hand the data pad to her, and instead of taking it, she pulls out her own data pad, touches it to yours, transfers the information, and then begins to feel it. Aye, sir. I can get on this right away.
As you were then.
Very good.
I have offensive and defensive systems to do a strip down inspection of.
I see. Well, I'll just be trying to work on this then.
Thank you again, Chief.
And you. And she makes her way off, reading the schematics that and design plans for combat simulations that you have given her.
Yep. I just clasp my hands behind the small of my back and walk out the door, off to go tear apart some phaser arrays.
Very
We
good.
don't have arrays, do we?
You do.
The collimator arrays aren't a thing yet, are they?
You do have phaser arrays.
Oh, nice. Okay. So we don't have just the little turret balls. We have the
Nope.
actual strips. We have
You actually have strips.
yeah, I'm going to be investigating those down to the micron level.
Yes, considering when you were aboard the Pequod, it had banks.
Yes.
What you know about them,
Mm-hmm.
phaser arrays are a little lower power, but far better coverage and designed to handle multiple targets at once.
Correct.
In gameplay terms, that means you can choose either the area or spread effect when using them, although they do a slightly less damage than dedicated phaser banks.
Right. Should probably take a closer look at the ship sheet.
All right. Very good. Anybody else have anything they'd like to do?
Think we're good?
Okay. Let's move us back to the bridge. It's about 6-7 days in. The Forge has been performing most adequately, as your lieutenant commander might say. And
within acceptable parameters.
yes, exactly. All is going well, and suddenly a small chime appears on the command on the helm station. Thavaran looks at it. Sirs, we seem to be getting a distress signal of some kind.
A distress signal?
Yes, it's heavily... well, there's a lot of interference. I can't really make out all of it. General distress signal.
I see. Any other ships in the area that can respond faster than us?
I'm going to spend 2 points of momentum.
We're spending our momentum?
I mean, threat, if it'll let me spend it.
The GM's spending our momentum?
No,
It will
we're
not
we're up to 6 momentum too, not 5.
Yes. Why is it not letting me spend the momentum? The threat. This is strange. I'm gonna have to look into that. anyways. I'm going to spend 2 points of threat No, there are no other Starfleet ships nearby. I can probably patch it through to the lieutenant commander if you'd like to try to clear it up some.
Do so.
All right. So, Lieutenant Commander Sakal, if you could roll me a control and security. And this is going to be assisted by the ship's sensors plus science. Excuse me, computers and science.
Just come into play.
I doubt any of your focuses come into play.
Understood.
Unless you have like a decryption focus or a sensors focus.
Yes. Sensor operations.
Okay, if you have that, then that would come into play. I did not know you had that. My apologies.
No, I only said it 3 times. Okay.
I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Am I? Okay.
You're a
I can't
little
control
quiet.
My volume.
but
I can't
that's
control
fine.
my volume at my end.
That's fine.
All right, so here we go.
All right, 2 successes. And then the ship is going to assist with computers and science. 1 dice. Somebody would be able to roll that.
I'll get to that. Computers and science, you say.
Mm-hmm.
1 die.
Yep. That was 2 die.
I
But it's okay. I gotta go in there and make some changes to make it fine. Regardless, those
I
are
pushed the 1 die button.
I know. There's some weird things that go on with vessels. It's okay. None of them are actually complications.
Okay.
There's some weird things that happen with the way the ship sheets handle that I'll try to address between this session and next. With 2 successes, you are able to clear up audio and grainy video as well. You can put it on screen if you want.
Captain, I have cleared up the signal a good deal. Would you like it on screen?
I would like that, Lieutenant Commander.
Aye.
As the grainy signal appears up on the view screen. My ship has been forced to retreat, and I am stranded. Or planet. I repeat, this is High Researcher Slaskas of the Gorn Hegemony. My ship has been forced to retreat under enemy fire, and I have been stranded aboard of the planet. I have been stranded planetside. I am currently handling a matter of biomedical security and require immediate assistance.
I'm doing a quick search. Of records to see if this is who this person is, what we have information on him. And
Okay. Roll me a reason and... Look, we can say reason and security. And that will be assisted by the ship's computers and...
Damn it.
And... computers and command. The ship's computers and command.
Okay, I'm going to have to spend my determination.
Okay. For what?
Trust, because I rolled a complication.
Yes, yeah.
Trust but verify.
Okay, I like it. So you may re-roll up to both of those dice. Very nice. And then that will be assisted by the ship's computers and command.
Again, I only rolled one die, but
It's okay. We'll take the one success. We'll be kind. 3 successes. Difficulty of that was 2, so you can gain 2 you can gain 1 momentum. That puts us at 1 floating momentum.
correct. Which will disappear at the end of the scene.
Correct. So feel free to use that
But-
to, obtain information or something after I give you baseline information.
All the momentum doesn't have to go into a momentum pool.
Correct.
So that floating point of momentum could go into my personal pool, could it not?
It'll still go away at the end of the scene.
Understood. But it could.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Again, we're trying
yeah,
to,
no.
for
Good to
people who haven't read the rule book,
Yep.
which is most of us.
He. Federation records on the Gorn hegemony are spotty at best between their very strange interactions over the years. Things have calmed down significantly between the two after the Treaty of Cestus. However, there are records of researcher Saslaskas as having assisted a Federation colony during a disease outbreak to help to formulate a cure. From what you know of her, she is highly regarded among the hegemony, and is considered one of their leading scientists and researchers.
I have that information in my head, ready to give to the captain when he asks.
All right.
Or if he asks.
Reports and any information on the Gorn acting in this area?
This
Or-
particular, we have some records of this particular Gorn captain, scientist, who has on occasion helped Federation colonists dealing with outbreaks of biological instances. So the name is known to us, assuming that this person is who they claim to be.
Set a course on their signal.
Very good, sir. Setting course for the Chai SETI system. And the ship slowly lists as it moves off to the Kai SETI system.
Make sure our shuttles are ready to launch. We don't know what type of response situation we might get ourselves into.
Copy that.
I'm behind the captain, so he can't see my eyebrow rise up to my hairline. If I were another Vulcan, I'd say fascinating, but I'm not that Vulcan.
Copy that, sir. You thinking about repeating Cardon 3?
We'll see if the planet is as stormy as Tardon 3.
So, yeah, I'm gonna pull up information on that planet. every map I can possibly get, I'm gonna formulate a 3-dimensional battle space thing that I can see. Yeah, the whole freaking thing.
Very good, very good. And that's where we will transition our scene. You arrive at the Kai SETI system within a few hours. Doesn't take too long. Now, real briefly, before we get into discoveries, things we need to do here, we're just going to talk about, we have a brief slight update to the token system that we're going to be using going forward here in Partisan's Edge. You'll see the 3 bars above the vessel. The topmost bar, the yellow bar, that indicates the ship's resistance. So engineering-wise, how well built the ship is and how much damage it can sustain before damage begins to impact the ship itself. The blue bar represents shields, and the red bar represents the ship's power. These will be able to be at a glance update and can be quickly updated directly through the token instead of going through the ship sheet as well. Now, don't fret, don't be afraid, but I'm going to make a quick secondary token appear. Enemy ships. It doesn't show up. Hold on. Let me just change. Did that do it? No. Okay. Well, we're going to work on. Oh, there we go. Yep. Enemy ships will also have these bars, or unknown ships. However, they will not have values assigned to them.
But we can see them degrade.
You can see them degrade. And should a player succeed at a sensor scan or create an advantage based off of a sensor scan-based task, they can become visible, and then you could more quickly see exact numbers. Then they would pop up for visibility.
I assume this counts as a separate scene.
This does count as a separate scene, as a new scene. So the let me just delete this random ship here. This does count as a separate scene. So we were at 6
Plus 1
momentum, plus 1 floating. Sean, was there anything you wanted to spend that on before the scene transition completed?
Yeah, I wanted a full data workup on this star system.
On the star system?
Yeah.
I would
And
say
the planet, that means stellar data,
Yes.
planetary
Okay.
data,
Perfect.
known small celestial bodies, yada, yada, yada.
Perfect. So from that, when you arrive, there you go.
Nice.
As the Vulcan's Forge leaves warp at the edges of this system, you already have a basic layout of the various celestial bodies here in the Kai Seti system. You know that it is a binary star system. 3 planets, 1 class K, 1 class J, and 1 class L. And there is an asteroid field between the class J and class L planets. For additional information, it would be a sensor scan to see how the planet, the system is as a whole. So yeah, you drop in, and currently, this is where you stand. You are trying to find the location of the distress signal from the system. What are we doing?
I guess do I have to make an active sensor sweep, looking for anything out of the ordinary, as in enemy ships, debris, bodies, energy waves, so on and so forth.
They did mention that they were attacked, so.
So.
Sure thing. Roll me reason and sciences. and this is going to be assisted by the ship's sensors and sciences. The difficulty of this is 0, though.
Ah, okay. Here's me. Oops. Oh well.
Okay, very good.
Don't giggle. Don't giggle. GMs should never giggle.
Okay, I won't giggle. There we go. The captain can giggle, though.
Yeah.
And then
the ship is
assisted by the ship's sensors and sciences.
sensors and sciences.
Neither of those are complications, so we're good. So gain 2 points of momentum. So we're now at 6 momentum with 1 point of floating momentum. Sean, how would you like that complication? You can buy it off.
2 threat or
2 threat or 2 momentum. So it would drop us back down to 5 momentum.
There we go.
Okay, very good. You're still getting used to controls, and quite frankly, it's very frustrating doing this without a dedicated science officer. Yes, you know how to use sensor operations, but you are more focused on, tight beam, close range analyses of vessels that are coming in and preparing to open fire on you, and less on long range analysis of stellar bodies. That being said, you do manage to locate the location. You manage to pinpoint the location of the distress call. It's coming from this Class K planet here. So that was the success. Spending momentum to obtain information would get you various things. So, for example, each of the planets here has traits associated with it. Basically, everything except the stars have traits associated with it. So, for 1 point of momentum, you could get the traits associated with a particular location or other questions that you might have.
All right, let's get if everybody's okay, let's get the data.
From where?
Oh, it's one at a time, is it?
Yep.
All right, the Class K, where the
all right,
unfortunate seems to have crashed.
You tighten down your sensors, and as I pull this up, this planet is in tidal lock with the smaller of the 2 stars. As that star, in turn, is in what would be considered a tidal lock with the larger of the 2 stars. You do detect some... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's
okay.
just astrophysical nitpicking. I'll shut
up. I did the research on this. It is possible, in theory, if the smaller star is small enough. There is some seismic instability that you notice aboard on the planet, and you also detect kelbonite deposits. Kelbonite is a ore that inhibits transporters.
Yeah, it interferes with transporter signals.
Mm-hmm.
Am I picking up an ion trace from impulse drive?
You're picking up impulse drive ion trace leaving the planet.
So the dispersal pattern says it's leaving, not landing there.
Correct. Which does track with the distress call where the researcher said that her vessel was forced to flee.
So she's still there.
And she's stranded. In addition, you pick up wreckage of a Federation craft.
Where?
On the planet.
No, on that planet.
Mm-hmm.
Am I picking up any? I can pick up the debris.
Yep.
Can I pick up any life signs?
I would say with this, yes, you can pick up. You can pick up that there are life signs there. It's hard to figure out exactly how many.
Okay.
But you can definitely pick up biological material there that shouldn't exist on a planet like this.
The mass of debris would suggest what size vessel?
Give me another point of momentum, and I can give you more information.
Oh, we're down to 4 right now, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Okay, take us to 3.
Okay. As you're attempting to identify various alloy composites to try and figure it out, in the mid 23rd century, a lot of older United Earth Starfleet vessels were retrofitted for non-combat and kind of closer to home purposes. What you're picking up is the wreckage of one of those vessels, an NX class starship that had been modified and heavily retrofitted for, usually they were for cargo haul or mobile scientific labs. Eventually they would be replaced with vessels like the Oberth class that are more dedicated for such things. But as they were getting phased out, they were getting turned into these kind of vessels.
Am I picking up any energy signatures?
Define energy signatures.
Power systems.
Minimal
Not
power
necessarily-
minimal energy signatures. Yes.
Right. I'm thinking if the Gorn is there with, she said she was treating injured people. Got to have some sort of power systems, especially on a K-type planet.
Yep. Minimal power systems. You are detecting slight energy spikes coming from the crashed vessel.
All right. Captain, sensors are indicating a crashed vessel on the inner K-type planet. Scans indicate that it is an old NX class, having been retrofitted for civilian operations. I'm also detecting an impulse trail leading from the K-type planet into the outer system, or towards the outer system. It was towards the outer system, yes? It was
It's towards the outer system, and then it cuts out. So
Okay,
you can
but
assume that this
but it was
vessel
in
went to
the
warp.
It was basically in the plane of the ecliptic, right?
Yes,
Like they didn't just go straight up, right?
correct.
All right. This trace disappears, indicating that they left the system at high warp, or at warp in general.
Understood. Bring us into orbit of the Class K planet and ready a rescue team.
Push the buttons to get the rescue team ready. They're going to have to go down in a shuttle.
All right. As you approach the vessel, I think we need to decide who's going to be on what missions. Who's going where?
I guess I'm going down there. I am
Okay.
security.
Well, makes sense. Him, our lovely lieutenant.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll probably stay on the ship.
Commander, will you be joining the away team, or will you be staying aboard ship?
I can join the away team.
All right, so Captain, you'll be left alone with
No, the Einor
no
will-
other PCs.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be okay.
All right. Now we're bringing a full security detail
Correct. So
and medical. How many medical personnel do we have on board aside from our chief medical officer acting?
you haven't. So basically, what I'm going to have each of you do is roll me a presence plus your discipline roll, and this is basically to create an advantage of like how powerful your assistance is going to be.
Presence plus what now?
Presence plus whatever the discipline is. So for you, it would be presence and security.
Would my darts
is-
focus apply?
No.
Dang it.
However, Sean, for you, because you are still aboard the ship and your chief of security talent ship roll will apply. So this will be better for you. The difficulty is 0. You're trying to see how many successes you can generate. But basically, it will add 1 additional success to your roll. Okay.
And
So that's 1 success.
Don't have my determination.
That's still good. You do get you're still going to get it. It's just how powerful of a bonus it will be for you.
Right. We don't
Essentially.
have the full security.
Mm-hmm.
The ship is helping, you said, yes?
Not for this.
All right.
This basically meant that like you gained 1 additional success from this, from being chief of security.
Okay.
And
So
then
the few red shirts that we're bringing, well, we're all technically red shirts, but you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yep.
They've all been trained in first aid procedures, so you know.
Yeah. And Baxtra, you can also do the same for the medical side of things. Presence and medicine. All right. So that's 1 success. So you each gained 1 success. So when we get to planet side, you will each have the trait of a security team 1 and medical team 1, which I will put that later when we actually get planet side, what it does.
Right.
So yeah, you work together, you formulate your team. Sakal, how are you arming your team?
Tricorders and Type 2 phasers.
Okay, very good.
Everybody gets a tricorder.
Yep. Oh, tricorders are free. Type 2 phasers are free. It was basically, are you bringing Type 3 phasers?
No, I don't see a need to bring Type 3 phasers just yet.
Perfect.
And there are still additional phasers on board the shuttlecraft if we need them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always a little door full of phasers. We could all carry a brace of pistols if we need to.
Exactly.
Or if worse comes to worse, use the extra ones as hand grenades.
Exactly. And then, Cheesy, how are you equipping yourself and your medical team?
Doctor, I would suggest you go armed.
Yeah. No. For sure. Same thing. Phaser type 2s, medical tricorders,
Med kits.
med kits, of course, and then I'm going to be bringing my stimulant shot.
Right. Excellent. So, because you are the chief medical officer.
Are these the same stimulant shots that Amenga made?
Maybe. We'll find out when he uses them.
Sorry,
as the chief medical officer, you automatically get, you don't have to spend additional momentum to bring a med kit. If you were not a medical department officer, then yes, it would be outside of your main purview. So you get that for free. Very nice. Okay. So you prepare and launch. Would you like the Valorant to be your pilot, or do you want Faceless pilot number 105.
Faceless pilot 105.
Perfect. You get, and are you taking one of the runabouts or are you taking one of the shuttlecraft?
One of the larger runabouts, because a regular shuttlecraft isn't able to hold a lot of people, and we're
All right.
running a full security team and a medical team, and we have unknown casualties on the surface. So
Perfect. So
But
you
also-
begin.
Also,
Okay.
I would like to
Mhm.
bring transport the transporter enhancers in case we need them.
Transporter enhancers do have an opportunity cost, so they will cost a point of momentum to bring.
We have a floating, don't we?
We do right now, yes.
Bend the float.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Transporter enhancers are also brought. You ready yourself in the shuttle bay, pack yourselves aboard the runabout, and begin to head toward the planet. Give me one sec. And drop the party ribbon here. Perfect. Captain Blackburn, aboard the bridge, it is much emptier now. As much of your senior staff has now headed down to the planet's surface. What would you like to do in the meantime? What are you doing?
I'm going to have a probe sent out
Okay.
towards the asteroid belt.
All right. Oh, man. What is the launch probe? Okay. So we're going to have the crew do this.
Just in case someone comes back or is hiding over there.
That's 2 successes. All right. And then the ship will assist. Would someone like to roll the sensors and science for the ship?
Sure. Give me a second. Science and sensors coming up.
I'll take that that natural one there. Total of 3 successes. So we were down to 3 momentum, so we're back up to 5. Look at that, Jeezy. You haven't had to make any modifications. We're back up to where we were at.
Outstanding.
Beautiful. All according to your plan.
Well, according
I'm
to
great
plan.
at this.
So from that roll, you gain the following data from the asteroid field.
Flight hazard 1, cover 1, ion trails. Interesting.
you detect things that you would expect from a asteroid field. That it would be difficult to work through. But also, you detect several ion trails from craft that are smaller than you, smaller than the Vulcan's forge, moving between various points and through the asteroid field. Nothing current, nothing active, but you do detect it.
I'm going to set us to yellow alert, just in case.
All right. You bring the command yellow alert. Yellow alert raises shields as well, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, very good. We are at 5 momentum. Would you like to spend any for any obtained informations?
I think I'll save it for the ground team
Okay.
in case we need to make emergency transports for later.
Very good. All right. As we begin to shift our focus back to the ground team, and the vessel and the runabout begins to descend through the atmosphere toward the planet, I believe that is a good place to end tonight's session.
Okie dokie. To be continued.
To
And
be continued.
To be continued.
We need that sound bite.
Is that legal?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Have to look into that.
Fair use. Fair use.
We're
not making.
Thank you. Thanks again, everyone, for coming to tonight's episode of Star Trek Adventures Partisan's Edge. Stay tuned next week. Provided all things willing, we will be back again Tuesday. Same channel, same time, no bats. Feel free to follow us, follow our benevolent host, the GM in the Great Barrier. And if you want to be a part of the community, join his Discord. It's a great place. There are many terrible Star Trek related memes that get posted on a daily basis nearly. Thanks again, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you join us again next week. Hailing frequencies closed.